Wow. There, marine mammal science, if you will, is, even the popularity of marine mammals in the public eye is huge. It's grown so dramatically in the past 30 years, it just boggles the mind. Uh, when I applied for the job at the University of Miami, I think only two of us came in for interviews. And if I recall, the other person was also a student from Cornell. I think he was one of Ken Norris's students in graduate school, as a matter of fact, as a physiologist. Now, a job like that, something like that, you would have hundreds of applicants with credentials, covering the range, depending from ecology, behavior, acoustics, satellite oceanography. I mean, the change in communication around the world, I mean, the whole internet phenomenon, cell phones, pagers, that kind of thing, satellite tracking, things we have learned about elephant seals and what they do. Never imagined that kind of thing was going on. The depths they were diving, the amount of diving they were doing. Critter cams, seeing some of the things that are going on now, and all the gear that can be attached to these devices that are shrinking all the time. Fluke beats and X, Y, and Z axis data, water temperature, almost you name it type of thing. It can be recorded, and the acoustics. Who knows where this is going to wind up? Really on the medical type thing too, as I mentioned, work with virus and PCR and all the things you can find now that might help explain things that are going on in some of the populations. And if you've got archived specimens, you can look back in time in some respects and maybe figure out what was happening or what was the status of a population at that time. So it changes the growth. The growth is amazing. Public interest is amazing. Years ago, if somebody had a photograph of a humpback whale jumping out of the water, that was a gold mine. Now, they're everywhere. It's not hard to find. So, interest, the animals are there growing back, and the growth is phenomenal. But we can't forget about the environment. You hear about acoustics and noise pollution, all this going on in the ocean. The work that Peter Tyack has done, and the speculations as cargo ships increase in size, the low frequency sound that they're making is masking sounds of some of the large whales. So there's a lot going on there. While interest is great and the science has improved dramatically, we still have to be concerned about their habitat. Again, what we as humans have done and are doing to it, whether it's pesticides going in the water. And those things are still out there. And as new chemical tests come around, they're finding something else in the blubber that we have really no idea what it's doing to the animals physiologically. And we know what DDT did to brown pelicans and alligators and peregrine falcons. Has this affected bottlenose dolphin reproductive biology? They're reproducing, but has it? I don't know. So it's a lot of questions. But again, it gets back to the habitat and what kind of world we want. Whether it's putting a lid on global warming, but we want to keep these animals around. Whether it's manatees in Florida, you need to protect their habitat and everything that goes with it. And it all gets down to that. And that's a lifestyle. It's recycling. Right at the individual level, you have to make these things part of your way of doing business. I get upset when I see somebody throwing a aluminum can or plastic in a trash can, or if I'm in a facility that doesn't have a recycling bin. I go looking for it. But it's that kind of thing that just has to be routine. You do it. And if we can get everybody on board, which is not an easy task, but it's that kind of thing. And fuel-efficient vehicles and all sorts of things like that really help the environment of the world as a whole. And we got a lot of work to do.